G'day everybody. I've been doing some more work on the on Blue Belle, our Reno motorhome. We're doing some incremental changes or fixes over the last couple of years, particularly on the electrics, mainly the solar side of things. So I'll just show you what I've been doing, and hopefully that helps. So, like I said, this weekend I've had the opportunity to do some more work. I've been doing this incrementally over 2 years. Some people that follow me on Instagram will have seen some of the work I've done. So this was quite a mess in here. It had lots of cabling that didn't go anywhere, it didn't do anything. It had all sorts of stuff in it left over from, I guess, its school bus days or its commercial days in Sydney, where it was owned by West Bankstown Bus Service, I think it was. Anyway, so this whole cabinet is a lot cleaner than what it used to be, and there's been lots of stuff removed, but we still have lots of leftovers, which I'm slowly going through and trying to find out what it does. So anyway, one of the things is that initially the bloke that had this before had, excuse me, I had all of these batteries connected together. Starter batteries, house batteries, and they're all connected in series and parallel to have 24 volt. And initially all of the solar input and alternator input, etc., was into this first battery. Now I've changed all these batteries, they're new ones, but it was all going into one battery, and all the output, like the inverter and whatever else it was taken off, was all coming off of that battery. So that was the one that was receiving the charge and discharge. These batteries were, very sus. In fact, one was, I reckon, pretty close to blowing up after I bought it. So anyway, I fixed all of that. So starters separated from the house, and I left it initially at 24 volts because I had a lot of things to fix first. So I've just changed that now. It's now back to 12 volt configuration. And what that means is I've been able to now, excuse me, I'll shut that. Now I've been able to not worry about converting the 24 volt back to 12 volt to have all the components working. So over the weekend, a very good mate of mine has helped me with this, and we've removed this converter, and it just gets rid of more components that we don't need. So that's a really good fix. So now everything that's working inside on 12 volts is going through these fuse boxes, and there's no need now to go through that converter. As you can see, my fridge is a 24 12 volt fridge that's connected directly to the batteries as per recommendation from the manufacturer. In any case, so some of the other things I've done is trying to get rid of superfluous stuff, or stuff that doesn't seem to do anything. It's a tedious job, it takes forever. So up here specifically, there is a little sort of fuse box. It had timber number 2 written on it. It had ceramic fuses in it, and it has a power feed. This is a power feed. It's 25 volt going in. Now, it apparently was for the saloon lights, something else I can't work out, driver's heater, and then accessories and radio, etc. So we've taken all those out and everything's working, which is good. And I expected that because some of that stuff, like the saloon lights and that, don't exist anymore. So a lot of that's left over from its bus days. As you can see, there's still lots of odd things hanging around. But in any case, I'm working on this at the moment. Now, that has a 25 volt input, whether or not it's, ignition is off, everything is off, and it has 25 volt going through it. So where's that coming from? So I'm tracing this cable back, and I'm going through here. It disappears in through that mess there. Let me just turn that off. And this is a very, very handy, very good multimeter. And this cable then I thought it was going to the battery, but lo and behold, no, it is not. It disappears down the distance there. Now I've gone underneath the bus, and a lot of room under the bus, which is great. So I've just followed it and tracked it and tracked it and tracked it, or traced it, whatever you want to call it. And it comes out of the back here and goes to the positive feed onto the starter motor. Now, I don't know if you can pick it up in the picture here, but the starter motor is there in the depths. So why would that be? Who knows? Anyway, we're going to take that cable off the starter motor and see if in fact it is that cable. So if it is, that'd be really good, because then I can work out what the hell is going on there. Obviously, once I make a change, step-wise, make a small change, we test everything, make sure everything still works like it's supposed to, and then we make the next change. So that'll be the same with this cable. I'll disconnect that cable at the other end where the starter is. We'll then put the multimeter across it, and if it's 0, then we'll put the cable back onto the starter motor. If it's back on 25 volt, we know we've got the right cable. We'll disconnect it then, and then we'll go through and see what's working or not working. So at that point, all of these cables coming out here, we'll then just disconnect it and try and trace it through. It tends to be quite difficult because it all tends to go into looms, disappear up in the distance here, and then down there, and then I guess some of it would be going up this pillar here to where the school lights and that would have been, I guess. So, and we know that the driver heater and the radio and that's all been disconnected from this point anyway, so we should be clear. Anyway, we'll see how we go. And my next step is to actually try and replace this fuse box. We had a serious melt there the other day. There was a short on the back tail lights, and it started it fused, but it kept burning. It actually melted the fuse, and it didn't disconnect. It didn't break that connection. So I found out since that there is a live feed to each one straight across. So anyway, that fuse didn't do its job. Well, it tried to do its job, but with the well, for some reason it just melted inside that fuse box. So we've had to do a bit of a workaround and get that fixed. But the idea is to probably replace this eventually, and that's probably a bigger job. So more than one day's work. But anyway, all right, well, this looks a whole lot cleaner. For some of you that are on my Instagram channel, you can go back a year or two and you'll see that it was a hell of a mess in there. Okay, well, again, thanks for watching. Hope it's interesting, and part of Blue Belle story in my life, my wife and I. So yeah, and we still enjoy Blue Belle, but there's a lot of tedious work trying to sort things out. Actually, while I'm at it, we've also been working on some of the 240 volt stuff, and this bus has two power feed. Now, what do you call it? 240 volt inputs. Them there. So we finally did some testing and worked out that this one here operates a fridge. Not that that fridge is in here anymore, but it must have had a 240 volt fridge. This is all general 240 volt. So we don't have that fridge, and it does no other purpose, so I'm going to take it out. Fortunately, when we put a power to this, fortunately it's totally isolated, so this doesn't become live. Anyway, that's a little project for the future. All right, hope you enjoyed it. Like it, please, and hopefully you'll subscribe and ask for notifications, and I'll keep interesting videos going, hopefully. Thank you. Ciao.